This story comes to us from news4jax.com. And so, News4Jax, you know we're going to Florida. In fact, it's going to be Nassau County. The city of Fernandina Beach said it plans to fire a Fernandina Beach Police Department detective after he was accused of drugging and sexually assaulting a woman. That's right. Well, he took protect and serve a little too far. He served a little too much. According to the Nassau County Sheriff's Office, the Fernandina Beach Police Department officer John Finley was arrested June 3rd of this year after investigators were contacted by an alleged victim that said she had been the victim of a date rape. According to arrest warrant, Finley and the alleged victim began texting after they met at her work. He later invited her over to his apartment. When the woman went to his apartment on May 29th, she told investigators he poured her a pink lemonade Smirnoff, pink drink, while his back was turned to her, and she drank it. Later, according to a warrant, Finley insisted they watch a movie in his room, and she reluctantly agreed. When Finley began to kiss and hug her, she told investigators she felt paralyzed and sleepy and had no control over her body. Yeah, he gave her a Spanish fly. He gave her something. According to the warrant, Finley then performed sex on her and said, "I shouldn't be doing this," several times before he stopped and took a shower. After the shower, he returned to the bed and there was another sex act, the woman told investigators. Wow, they're doing a play-by-play of this. Now it goes on, I'm just going to paraphrase. Eventually she pretended to fall asleep, but said she could still see him take a picture of her sleeping in the bed. They found a photo of the sleeping woman on Finley's phone. Finley, so she knew, right? Unless she looked at his phone. Finley eventually fell asleep himself, and that's when she left and drove home. And the following day, she did a 12-panel drug test, and twice it tested positive for amphetamines. She then contacted the sheriff's office. When questioned by detectives, Finley said no sexual intercourse occurred. When detectives searched his apartment, one substance in a cup tested positive for amphetamines. He answered several questions from investigators about the night he saw the woman, but his answers were redacted in the warrant. The name and age of the alleged victim were also redacted. Now, he was booked and moved to the Duval County Jail, where he remains on no bond. Authorities said he's transferred out of the Nassau County Jail to avoid any conflict over his incarceration there. Yeah, because he probably put some of those people away. They don't want him getting his ass kicked. News4Jax spoke to Jennifer Rodriguez from Quigley House about the scenario the alleged victim described. She says, "We always look at positions of authority, whether it's law enforcement, teachers, coaches, clergy, as being trustworthy. Society sees them that way, and oftentimes perpetrators will take time to build trust, so they will focus on really trying to show that they are supportive of the individual." She said drugging is common with sexual assault, unfortunately. But you hear what this Jennifer Rodriguez said. We look at positions of authority, law enforcement, teachers, coaches, clergy. All of those deal with children. Every one of them. Are you getting the picture? I'm not saying all those are bad people, but I'm saying there are bad people amongst them. You know what I'm saying? In other words, there's wolves in amongst the sheep. Not all the sheep are bad, but there's wolves in amongst them. Jennifer Rodriguez goes on, it's just another way to make the individual more vulnerable. And you know, when your trauma brain is engaged, oftentimes you may freeze, regardless of being drugged or not. But it's also a way for the individual to become confused. That's where we see a lot of survivors blaming themselves, like, I don't know what was going on, I wasn't in control of my body, but it's not their fault. And what she's saying is when you drug somebody, it gives them the guilty conscience of, I don't know what happened, I put myself in a situation. No, you're a victim. Don't blame yourself. Blame the scumbag who did it. She also talked about trusting someone else with your drink. Yeah, they've been teaching that for years. Years they've been teaching that. When you go into a bar, you keep your drink in front of you all the time. I don't drink. But if you drink, you always keep your drink in front of you. You get your own drink, you keep it. Nobody brings you a drink, you get your drink. Don't have people making you drinks. Jennifer Rodriguez goes on, it's very hard because you don't want to trust the stranger with your drink. And I think normally our society does a good job of teaching people, like, don't leave your drink unattended. But in a situation like this, where you think that you know the person, at least you don't think that they will hurt you, you're going to trust them when they give you that drink. No, you don't even trust your mother to give you a drink. Don't trust your brother, don't trust your father, and don't trust your sneaky uncle. Trust yourself. RESPECT.